In a time when Israel's faith grew cold, one man stood ablaze with the fire of God, Elijah, the prophet of truth. He came from the wilderness of Tishbe, carrying a message that would shake a nation. King Ahab and Queen Jezebel had led Israel into darkness, bowing to false gods. Elijah entered the royal court and declared, "There shall be no rain except at my word." Ahab's anger flared, but Elijah vanished before harm could reach him. God led him to the wilderness, where faith would be his only companion. By the brook of Cherith, God provided for him water to drink and ravens to bring bread and meat. Each morning and evening, the black-winged messengers came, proof of God's care. Even in isolation, Elijah found strength in divine presence. Days passed. The drought he had foretold began to consume the land. Even his stream ran dry. Then the Lord spoke, "Go to Zarephath. I have commanded a widow to feed you." He found her gathering sticks, weary and hungry. "Bring me a little bread," he said. She answered, "I have only a handful of flour and oil left." "Do not fear," said Elijah. "The jar shall not be empty until rain falls again." And so it was. Her jar never ran dry, her faith rewarded by miracle. But one day, her son fell lifeless, and sorrow filled the home. Elijah stretched himself over the child and cried out, "O Lord, let this child's life return." God heard. Life returned, and joy filled their hearts. Meanwhile, the land withered under drought. Yet Elijah waited for God's next command. "Go, show yourself to Ahab," the angel said, "for I will send rain upon the earth." Courage in his steps, he returned to confront the corrupt king once more. "You troubler of Israel," Ahab shouted. "It is you," Elijah replied, "for you have abandoned the Lord and followed Baal." Elijah called for a contest on Mount Carmel, a test between false gods and the true one. Thousands gathered to witness whose God had power. From morning till noon, Baal's prophets cried out, cutting themselves, but silence answered. Elijah mocked gently, "Perhaps your God is asleep." He rebuilt the Lord's altar with 12 stones, one for each tribe of Israel. He drenched the altar with water, leaving no doubt. Only a miracle could ignite it. "Answer me, O Lord, that this people may know you are God." A flash of fire blazed down from heaven, consuming everything, even the stones. The people shouted, "The Lord, He is God." The prophet had restored faith to a nation blinded by idols. Then Elijah prayed for rain. A servant cried, "I see a cloud, as small as a man's hand." And after years of drought, the heavens opened. Life returned to the land. But Jezebel swore vengeance. Elijah fled for his life. Exhausted and afraid, the prophet collapsed beneath a broom tree. A gentle angel touched him, saying, "Arise and eat." Strengthened, he journeyed 40 days to Mount Horeb, the mountain of God. There he waited, weary, lonely, and questioning his purpose. A wind came, but God was not in the wind. Then an earthquake, but God was not in the quake. Fire passed by. Yet still, no presence of God. Then came a gentle whisper, and in it Elijah heard God's voice. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" the voice asked softly. "I have been zealous for you, but I am alone," he said. The Lord answered, "You are not alone. I have reserved 7,000 who have not bowed to Baal." Strengthened again, Elijah returned to complete his mission. He found a young man named Elisha and cast his mantle upon him. Elisha followed him, ready to serve and learn from the prophet of fire. Elijah's life became a testament of boldness and obedience. He spoke against corruption, defending the poor and helpless. God's word through Elijah proved true. Judgment fell upon Ahab. As the years passed, the prophet's time drew near. At the Jordan River, Elijah struck the water with his cloak, and it parted. Together they walked across, their footsteps echoing through eternity. "Ask what I shall do before I am taken," Elijah said. "Let a double portion of your spirit be upon me. If you see me taken, it shall be so," the prophet said. Suddenly a chariot of fire appeared, horses blazing with heavenly flame. In a storm of light, Elijah was carried upward, body and soul, into heaven. The mantle fell upon Elisha, the spirit of Elijah resting upon his successor. Elijah's journey ended not in death, but in divine triumph. His story still burns across generations, a reminder of faith's power. The cave remains empty, yet his courage fills every believer's heart. From drought to fire, from despair to glory, Elijah's life was a living flame of God's truth, and so the prophet of fire became the messenger of faith. His spirit still calls us to stand for truth, even when the world burns around us. Jezebel's message reached Elijah. By this time tomorrow, you will be dead like the prophets of Baal. Fear gripped Elijah's heart. The mighty prophet who had called down fire now trembled. He fled into the wilderness, leaving behind the towns, the people, the noise. Collapsing beneath a solitary broom tree, Elijah whispered, "It is enough, Lord. Take my life." But God's mercy found him even in despair. An angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." He ate, then slept again. Weary from his journey and sorrow, the angel returned a second time. "The journey ahead is too much for you. Eat again." Strengthened by that meal, Elijah walked 40 days and nights to Mount Horeb, the mountain of God. In a cave, he took shelter, lonely, broken, and waiting for God's voice. Then the word of the Lord came. "Elijah, what are you doing here?" Elijah replied, "I have been zealous, Lord, but now I am alone and they seek my life." "Go out and stand on the mountain," said the Lord. "I will pass by." A mighty wind tore through the mountains, but the Lord was not in the wind. Then an earthquake shook the ground, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After that came fire, blazing across the mountainside, but still the Lord was not there. And then came a gentle whisper. That soft voice, Elijah felt the presence of God more deeply than in storm or fire. The Lord spoke, "Go back. I still have work for you to do." Elijah obeyed. On his way, he found a young man plowing the field, Elisha, son of Shaphat. Elijah threw his cloak over him, a silent call to follow. Elisha left his oxen, his family, his home, and followed Elijah. Together they traveled across Israel, performing miracles and proclaiming God's truth. As the years passed, Elijah knew his time on earth was nearing its end. Crossing the Jordan River, Elijah took off his cloak, struck the water, and it parted before them. On the other side, he turned to Elisha. "Ask what I shall do for you before I am taken." Elisha answered, "Let me inherit a double portion of your spirit." "You have asked a difficult thing," Elijah said, "but if you see me when I am taken, it will be yours." Suddenly, the sky blazed. Chariots of fire and horses descended in a whirlwind. Elijah was lifted into heaven by the whirlwind, never tasting death. Elisha picked up Elijah's fallen cloak, the spirit of the prophet now resting upon him. He struck the Jordan with the cloak, and once again the waters parted. And so Elijah, the prophet of fire, courage, and faith, was remembered forever as the man who walked with God.